What up, guys? This is the kid DZD, aka the Drank Kang, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time with us, make sure you smash that subscribe button and also hit that bell notification because you don't want to miss out on the content that I have coming for you guys. Speaking of that content, I have a nice tutorial video for you guys. My last video that I dropped for you guys was on percussion techniques and how you guys can get your percussion to have a nice smooth rhythm and give it more of a flair whenever you create your drum patterns. This video is going to be similar to that, but it's going to be on making melodies. If you're new to the MPC software and you're a beginner and you're new to how the MIDI notes work, pad perform, all that stuff like that we create melodies with, this video will give you a good starting point as to how to get some melodies up and running very, very quickly, and it's absolutely simple to do so. I'm going to show you a few things that I do when I get my melodies prepared for a nice, solid beat. So without saying too much, let's jump inside the MPC software and get this thing going. Let's do it. Okay, so what I like to do first is I like to use the MPC as a guide. So I go on and put it in pad perform mode. And then what I do is I pick a scale, any scale. We're going to do D natural minor. Then I go on and lay down some very, very simple chords with just the piano, some type of regular style piano. So right now I have this piano pulled up. Really nice piano. So I'm going to put it in chords. And all we're going to do is just lay down some very, very simple chords, boring, but then we're going to spice them up as we move on with the tutorial. So let's do it. These chords are a bit dark, so if you want to brighten them up, then all you have to do is highlight all of the bottom notes, and you just do that by holding shift and then highlighting them. It's going to highlight all of the notes that you pick, and then you can hold shift and hit the up arrow, and then it's going to transpose them up an octave. So now it turns it from dark to bright. Check it out. If you want a really, really bright feel to give it like a melodic feel, then you go ahead on and highlight the middle notes and you shift those up an octave with shift up arrow. So it just depends on what type of feel you're going for with your chords. Then this would be your basis of how you want to start your melody. If you want a nice airy feel with a nice vibe, then you take that bottom note and you shift them up. If you want a bright type of vibe, really, really bright and melodic, then you take those middle notes and shift them up. But that's just a small little trick that you guys can keep in mind whenever working with your MIDI notes and your chords. Okay, so now that we got the chords laid down, what I can do now is I can go ahead on and shift the MPC up an octave. Still leave it in chords, but just shift it up an octave by pressing the plus button. Okay, now it sounds like this. Same chords, but just a higher octave. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead on and place the chords in between these chords here. So what I mean by that is the chords start here. Okay, that's where they start. I'm going to place some more chords in between here and maybe here. I'm going to let these go where these start right here. And then I'm going to place some in between here and here. I'm going to let these start. And then I'm going to place some here and here. And then I'm going to do the same thing throughout. And you'll see exactly what I mean as I do it. This is going to give us some layering notes so that we can now make some nice melodies with the chords. So I'll show you this technique. Check it out. So now that we have these chords here, they're just light hits. Now we can start shifting these notes around to kind of make some type of melody. Check out what I mean. We can take these middle ones here. Let's highlight the middle ones. We're going to move them over. See how we just shifted a few of the notes around, still kept them in the chords, but just shifted them around. And this is, you can do this by ear, just by moving these notes around and seeing what fits. And the good thing about it is we use the chords as a guide, so that now we'll stay in key with the notes. And then you can kind of add more wherever you want. You can even kind of move these chords around too as well. See what I'm saying? Just to kind of give it a more melodic feel. So what you can do after you've got the first half down, what I mean by the first half is you look at this grid up here as a half point. So from 1 to 4, 4, right here at 5, 1 would be half. So 5 would be the second half of my 8-bar loop. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5, 1 is the half point. So what I can do is I can literally go ahead on and delete all of these notes here. I'm going to keep these higher ones here. I can delete those and then copy my first half melody over again by selecting all, and then I can hit Control and D, and it's going to copy it. And I just make sure that it starts on 5, 1. I just use the arrow and make sure that it starts on 5, 1. And then I can kind of get creative in the last, and I can do something like, then move some of these notes around as well. So this is just another little trick that you guys can use. Just make sure you stack your chords up, and then you can kind of shift those new chords that you have on top to kind of fit the melody and move the notes around to give you like a melodic feel, some type of melody on top of your chords. So now when I get to this point in my melody to where I have a nice, good starting point for what I want my melody to be, now it's time to go on and change the instrument. I kind of like how that sounds. I kind of like that hollow feel to it. So let's go with this one. And then now it's time to start adding a few effects. So the first thing I'll probably add is just some RC20, and that'll go it on and kind of brighten up my melody just a little bit. Okay, that kind of gives it like a nice little vintage type of feel. So the next thing I'll do is go up here and I'll go to Edit and I'll go to Humanize. And then this is going to kind of humanize the notes to kind of offset them a little bit and kind of give my all of my notes a human feel. So all I'll do is just go down to where it says Humanize Velocity. And then I'll crank that up to maybe about 40 or 45, something like that in between. And then I'll hit Do It. And it's kind of going to shift the notes around to where now it kind of gives me a human feel. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go ahead on and use probably one of my sound effects by this company called UJam. And it's the Neo effect here. And all this does is just put some effects on your chords. They have a few of these plugins by UJam, but this Neo one I really, really like. And you can kind of pick some of the effects here that's going to do some crazy things to your melodies. But let's go through here and see if we can find something. So now what I want to do is I want to copy these notes here, these chord notes here. Okay, and I need to fill out my melody. So I'm holding shift and I'm highlighting all of the chords there. I'm going to hit Control C to copy, and then I'm going to Control bracket over to the track 3. Control bracket, Control right bracket, and left bracket is how I scroll through my tracks. And then I'm going to hit Control V to paste those notes there. So now I have these notes pasted, and I'm going to go ahead on it and put these chords back to where they go. And we're going to see if we can get another piano to back that. Now we're going to separate these two sounds using the EQ. Okay. And then we're going to Control and left bracket over to track 2. And we're going to put our EQ on there as well. So we have track 2, the melody on the left, and then the chords on the right. Okay, we're going to EQ this melody to take a little bit of the bottom end off and a little bit of that mid end. Let's blend these chords in as well. This is kind of like a good starting point for a nice melody. This is for the beginner person who is not familiar with the MPC platform, who isn't familiar with the MIDI notes and what they can do with them. This will give you a starting point for getting familiar with how to make melodies inside of the MPC software. If this video helped you out in any way, please by all means drop a comment below and also smash that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. It helps to put this video in the eyes of those that it will help. So thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. If you guys want to learn more about this on a one-on-one basis, please by all means take advantage of my live video help sessions. The link is always in the video description. You guys can have me live on screen and I can show you in depth a lot more behind the scenes of what I get done inside of the MPC software and how to do that. It's very, very nice to have someone who can actually be over your shoulder and show you step by step how the MPC software works and what it does. So take advantage of that. The link is in the video description. I'll see you on screen. If you guys want to connect with me in any way, Instagram is probably the best place to do that. Make sure you drop your boy a follow at the Kang on Instagram. Shoot me a DM and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. This is the kid DZD, aka the Kang, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios, and I will check you guys in the next video. Peace out.